That record button. Now that I've adequately destroyed your bathroom, I think it's ready for us to start. So, welcome again, everybody, to another episode of
lighting candles.
Yeah. Just wait for the methane to blow us all up. Oh man. Oh no, it's seeping in already. All right, yeah, our time is limited now, but yeah, forgot to touch on a couple things about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And again, it's not like I like the show for what it does. You know, it by itself as a superhero show.
You just want to
Love
touch
it.
on a couple things and not
Yeah.
go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into my Shakespearean monologues again. Just a couple things that were said at the end that I wanted to touch on. I found like a little interesting. And again, like I do like the show, and I like what it does on as in terms of the African American message.
It tickles your fancy.
Yeah, it touches me in all the right spots, you know. No. Oh, nice little butt pops. but
Booty popping each other's assholes.
Yeah. Doesn't happen when Soldier. Sorry, guys. Get your hopes up. But but it does.
I wouldn't mind if that turned into like a gay porn thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a little bit of a swerve to get more inclusive.
They're doing it with what is it? Superman or like Batgirl, whatever. Someone's
What?
gay, or no, like they're doing it in the comic book world, like where.
Oh, I don't pay attention to modern comics.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, not that homosexuality is disgusting. I'm saying that like
it's like every three comics that are coming out, they're getting shut down and not even going to press.
Yeah, because they're just trying to virtue signal all the way. It's like like you didn't give a shit about this 5 years
ago. You got
ago.
a new
like,
Wonder Woman coming out. She's a trans-Sibian, you know.
Right, like it's like like stop. It's not even
Syrian refugee.
just so overly concerned with modern.
And everybody's thinking like, well, how is Wonder Woman a Syrian refugee?
Yeah.
Why would she even be a refugee?
Like, well, actually, the island.
How does she get displaced? She has superhuman strength.
Yeah, it's just. This doesn't fit. Like, why didn't she contribute in the? God of War did plucked out of time. Anyways,
it's time a real story is told.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I want real stories to be told. And then if they cared about this stuff from the beginning, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Like Save Space and Snowflake.
Yeah. Oh, fuck that.
That are actual characters.
I think that got shut down. I hope that got shut down.
Well, what was it? Was it over 200,000 likes or dislikes?
Yeah, I'm sure.
It was something absurd. Or maybe it was in the millions.
I wouldn't be surprised. But that's such a stupid...
No, I think it was in the millions. Like, maybe it was 2 million dislikes.
Yeah.
It got a lot. I mean, it was overwhelmingly...
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And people like try to disassociate, or try to characterize.
Well, people don't like it. They just say, "Oh, it's hate. It's just people being hateful." So just like them not wanting to intake that type of product.
Like, it's just that Dora the Explorer with the infinite backpack isn't. Like,
no,
that's not
magical backpack.
Excuse me.
They don't even tell you what that even means.
They don't tell you how she sorts.
I don't know if it's like the Harry Potter thing where you could just just have a house down there.
Like, they don't go into it at all. Like, they just that's the thing. I like the concept of this person who has like this impenetrable barrier, but they can only use it to protect other people. That concept is interesting. I kind of like that, but it's just like the for the namesakes, it's just like it's gross. It's not even like it's like overtly trying to prove that they're more virtuous than they actually are. Because, like, you didn't give a shit about this a couple years ago. Like, now how come all of a sudden, now that it's popular, now everybody's talking about it? Now everyone's trying to create something about it. Like, they're all trying to jump on the bandwagon, like, with Twilight and vampires and all that shit.
Just to straighten this out, it's 6.5 thousand likes to 310,000 dislikes. which I don't know if you can get a worse ratio.
Yeah, I didn't even know. Just like buttons go there. I maybe get 1 or 2.
Out of 1.5 million views.
Yeah, that's
That's
quite a bit.
my math is horrific.
We're talking about like 1/3.
But it's a decent percentage
yeah.
of people like actually clicking on it, because most people don't click on the videos.
Yeah.
And of course, the top comment is, "My wife's boyfriend thinks it's great."
Oh, Cuck Nation. Let's go. Oh, that's so juicy. But yeah, I wouldn't akin Falcon and Winter Soldier to anything like that. Like, it's actually a good show.
I'm just kidding. I just think it'd be funny if they had like a sex scene now.
Yeah, like I'm sure this would be funny.
Because remember when Lord of the Rings was out, they were making fun of it. So,
like 7 guys traveling together. Like.
No. There was an artist who wrote, who drew pictures of Frodo and
Sam.
Frodo and Sam in like compromising positions. Like they would be like
going on this journey.
No, they would be like snuggling, or it would look like I don't know if they were fucking, but they looked like they were like snuggling and like
big
and like and like Sam's like clutching like Frodo's chest, and Frodo's like kind of like tilting his head back with his eyes closed, like
biting his bottom lip, like
it was stuff like that. So it was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
But now it'd probably be homophobic because everybody like, oh, it's funny because they're not gay, but they're drawing them as gay. Like, it's like, you know, that's hateful.
Yeah.
I'm laughing.
Yo, this is I was watching when I was talking to the missus, and we were talking about Arsenio Hall, and I like him in some movies, but it's like him, like I didn't really watch a show like that, but my mom loved this show, and we were looking over some old clips, and there was this one show that
The blonde girl is so funny while they were singing. She said, "Oh my God!" It was so funny, so funny. Huh? I'm sorry, I can't hear you, man. Why don't I have any gay guests on my show? Wait, I'm sorry. Why don't I have any gay guests on my show? Well, there are a lot of gay guests who really don't like to talk about their sexual preference, so we don't know whether they're gay or not. You know? Now, this ain't Merv. You didn't think I'd run from this, did you? This ain't Johnny. I ain't gonna run from it. I'm gonna deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, who would you like me to have on my show that's gay that maybe I haven't had? Larry Kramer. Who? Gus Van Sant. I don't know Gus Van Sant, but I know Elton John. He's been here and he's rocked the house. Okay? What? Harvey Fierstein. When Harvey has something I'm interested in, I'll bring him on the show. But this is my show, okay? This is my show. This is my show. You understand? This is my show. This is my show, man. You think I haven't had somebody on the show because they're gay? What's wrong with you, man? I'm black. I'm black, man. I'm black, man. I'm the biggest minority you know about. I don't want to hear that gay trash, man. I got gay friends I've had on the show. Because you don't know them or it ain't who you want on the show, you got a problem with it. If you want to book it, get yourself a show. Now sit down, so I can do the show. You've had your say and I've had mine. I apologize to you sitting out there and you sitting here. It's rude and it's out of order. The one thing I would not do is discriminate against a guest because of their sexual preference. To be honest with you, there are a lot of gay guests on this show, but it ain't none of your damn business that they're gay. That's real stupid. It's real stupid. Why don't you go over to the Johnny Carson show and ask him that question? It's a stupid, stupid question. Hey, the point is, this ain't the Morton Downey show. You. Hey. Wait. No, I don't do anti-gay jokes. I do characters. Just like I do McDonald's waiters. Just like I do jokes about politicians, Dan Quayle, or anybody else. I'm a comedian. Why is it that you can do a joke about anything and anybody, but when you do a gay joke, I gotta have idiots in here protesting over it? You don't see Dan Quayle here. You don't see Milli Vanilli here. What's your problem? What's your problem? Why is it that I can't do a gay character? It's a joke, man. Loosen up and enjoy it. Chill. What's your problem? I'm a minority, man. I do black jokes, I do gay jokes, I do every kind of joke you can imagine. And you don't see people up here interrupting the show and being rude like you are. What's your problem, man? What's your problem? You better chill, man. You better chill. I apologize. I apologize for myself, and I apologize for them. Let's move on.
It's ridiculous that I wouldn't invite somebody because of their sexual preferences.
They were getting mad about that back then.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
That's it. People are so dishonest. Like, it's funny at times to be gay.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't watch maybe if I could talk, it'd be nice.
I've infected you.
Queer Eye for the Straight Guy wasn't a great show, or wasn't a well-watched show because, my God, the content on there was just so informative. No, it's because you had gay guys putting on that sass and talking shit to these straight bums who don't know how to do anything right. So it's funny. It's funny because in their gay way, they shitted on this straight guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you have these shoes, and they're like pinching their nose and throwing them in the garbage can.
Yeah.
It's hysterical.
But it's just weird, man. Like, you know, like you were saying before.
If they were straight, people would be like, "Why are you acting like that?"
Right, and then so they're making fun of it because they're flipping
why are you acting like a gay guy?
Yeah.
But they're gay.
Yeah.
And they hammed it up for the cameras, and it was hysterical.
Right. They just
as well as like, the whole thing wasn't just laughing at gay people, but like just the whole transformation and how they would talk shit was funny and entertaining.
Yeah, because like you get a little snapshot into the world, and it flips kind of everything on its head because we're used to like straight people ostracizing people who aren't part of the, you know, what they consider normal. It's like, haha. And making fun of that, it's like, we look at that like, that's fucked up. And then this one kind of flipped it on its head, and we're just like, oh shit, that's hilarious. Like nice way to snap back at it.
It was like one of the most watched shows. It was a hit.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Who watches the regular cable?
Oh no.
Okay.
It's still,
I just was curious. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's cool.
Last time it fucking turned off on us. That's the old computer. This one, new and improved, man.
Okay, what was I thinking about?
That is a popular show.
Yeah, but it was on like regular network cable.
Yeah.
Who watches that?
Everybody.
But no, what type of people watch it? regular Americans,
Yeah,
like
but
middle America, like
yeah, everybody.
if you who had HBO, no more richer people, because it's a paid service. Because this came out like in 2000s, 90s. You have to remember, back then there wasn't any streaming services, so the people that watch network TV, so if whatever channel it's on ABC or whatever, you're getting Hank and Gertrude from Arkansas are sitting down and watching this.
Yeah. That's the way to pump out culture into people's blood. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
You had regular people watching that.
Yeah.
Because it was funny.
Yeah, man. Like it's crazy, but like it's like you were kind of saying before, like somebody's gonna be upset at everything, but like that's ridiculous.
Netflix.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it, man. This prime, this modern day example of something that happened decades ago. It's just and especially for like a platform like Netflix, because it's just like him. Like, okay, like I bring on people, but it's like if they don't want to come out, like who am I to I'm not gonna out them if they don't feel comfortable doing it. Especially they're his friends. So it's like, oh, why am I gonna? They're like, oh, just for you guys to know. By the way, embarrass these people that decide to come on my platform talking on a show to you guys, or to me, like in front of you guys for your entertainment. Like Netflix is known to like they put all kind of wild shit out there. Like yeah, they have Dave Chappelle, but even the Dave Chappelle special that's getting all that flack, he was talking about we've already talked about that, man. And
nobody cares about his. Wasn't his opening joke him coming on children or something like that?
Oh shit, I don't remember that.
It was a pedo. I mean, you literally could be joking about like raping 85 fucking crippled babies that are like 3 months old.
No
and nobody
problem.
gives a shit.
Yeah.
But you say, I farted in the direction of this. Said the bad word. This gay guy, and then everybody would like flip their shit.
And that's kind of what Arsenio was saying, because he was just like, I joke about all these other things, or I play all these other characters. You got no problem with that, but all of a sudden I play a gay character, and now you have an issue, and it's just like, yo, like just chill out. But Netflix is known like they have all these things, and Dave Chappelle isn't transphobic in the least, but like even if you disagree,
I mean, you could say is or isn't, but it doesn't even mean anything.
Yeah, words don't mean anything anymore. But even if they felt so upset with what Dave was doing,
phobic isn't even the correct. It's such an outdated, stupid term, because people like homophobic was actually a real thing because people were literally afraid of it.
Yeah, they thought that you could catch. Oh, you want to catch the gayness.
If somebody in 2015 or 2017 or 2000 or like today, starts joking about the word fag, that they're not scared of homosexuality.
Yeah. It's a different thing. Like,
Maybe they just feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or they don't care at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to have. They don't even have to have a negative mindset about somebody to say fag.
Yeah, but they've just nowadays everything's radicalized. Either you're on this side or you're for us or you're against us. There's no in between. Like you can't just be neutral. And that's
well, if you're not,
let's do one thing at a time.
If you're not, what is it? If you're not actively against racism, then you are racist.
Yes.
So if I'm struggling to like pay my mortgage, fuck that. I gotta stop what I'm doing.
And think about race. Consider race as an issue, but it's not a factor in my day-to-day life, and I don't have anybody around me who I can really associate with.
I'm more focused on my family.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get bread on the table. I know someone from this particular race, but they don't really identify this way because there are some people who are just like, why can't you just call me American? I don't call African American. But I
hate people my biggest beef is people getting upset about things that they know that they're going to get upset about. Like, how do you mean? Like Louis C.K. You remember when that set got leaked where he was making fun of the Lakeland shootings?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You remember that? Because he's just saying like, there's something. The most interesting thing about you is you went to a school where people got shot. Yeah. But it's not, and it's like I know he's trying to do a fucked up joke, but at the end of the day, he's actually he's 100% right. It's like. okay, it's one thing for us to have compassion for these kids. It's another for you to be giving kids book deals and having them appear on CNN for
Right.
20-minute interviews
To share their insights on the
on
topic.
gun control.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the only thing that happened to you that is remotely interesting is that like some guy, got his head blown off while you were sitting next to him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Louis love.
But people were trying to cancel him off of that joke.
Yeah.
And then, or not even that, but people were saying like, "Oh, I'm not a fan of his anymore, and this has gone too far." It's like, what got too far? He literally made jokes about like raping dead babies.
No problem. No problem.
He went on SNL and gave a monologue talking about how he really likes Snickers, and then he thought about it for pedophiles. It must be like eating a Snickers. Because if you told me that I could go to jail for eating a Snickers, but I kept like being tempted by eating a Snickers, I would probably eat the Snickers because it's so delicious and I like it so much. He gave a monologue talking about how it must be so tempting and amazing to fuck a child.
Oh my god, it's such a dark take. I love it, man.
That's his
That's his shtick, yeah.
But that's who he is.
Yeah,
He has said repeatedly
Wow,
the N-word constantly.
Yeah.
He doesn't care who's in the room.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. There's a famous.
I am who I am, regardless. Not conditional on who's there, but
from the Opie and Anthony show
yeah.
where Patrice O'Neal is talking about how he found out where the racial slur "kike" came from.
I haven't even heard that.
But it can't. It's what you call Jews.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Keikel is circle, and when they were coming over to through what is it? I forget it off the top of my head, but where they were coming through New York,
Oh, the island.
immigration, Coney Island. It doesn't matter.
I know what you mean.
Doesn't
I know
matter.
what you mean. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot of people
To
who
get
couldn't.
processed
A lot of
into the
people who
country.
couldn't
Yeah,
write.
yeah.
A lot of people who couldn't like write their names and stuff, or would put like some name and then like put a cross. And then the Jews were putting circles because they were Jewish. And it was just like a difference from a cross.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But the Jewish word for circle is keikel.
Okay.
So people just started calling them kikes because it was like, but then of course like the Klan starts using it and then it goes from there.
Oh.
But Patrice is talking about that. And then Louis C.K. is in the studio and he goes, "You want to know the first time that, somebody called somebody the N-word?" And he obviously says it.
Yeah.
And he goes like, "Somebody was just acting like a..." And then Patrice starts laughing. It's like, "You mean it was just a feeling?" It's like, "Yeah." And they start laughing at each other. It's like, "Oh man, that guy's over there being such a..."
Yeah. You know what?
And he said it like 5 times
That's funny.
in front of Patrice O'Neal, but because...
And Patrice had no problem. It wasn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's always been that way. So it's like, if he comes...
Yeah.
The next time he comes out with a special, you can't get mad at what he says.
Yeah, because
Because there's a precedent of that he says things that are going to offend people. So then if you turn around and say, "I'm offended," it's like, well, what do you expect him...
Yeah.
You weren't going to watch Carrot Top,
Right.
who's not doing a lot of crazy comedy. He does
Props.
shtick stuff
Yeah.
and props.
Yeah.
And if you want to enjoy yourself, go to that.
Right.
Right? If you want to go to a family-friendly show, there's Tom Papa, there's Jim Gaffigan, there's plenty of comedians out there that do dad shtick stuff because
Yeah.
they're dads and they're not too into what's going on in the world and they're not too confrontational.
Yeah.
They're not bad comedians. They're hysterical. But they
Yeah.
have that material.
Yeah.
You go to Cat Williams' show and then go, "Oh my God."
Why is he talking about? Yeah.
It's like, it's Cat Williams. He gave a 20-minute rant about how Michael Jackson forgot he was an N-word.
Yeah.
And viciously attacked him. Was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck that N-word," and he kept repeating it and repeating
Yeah.
it. "Fuck him. He's a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Fuck him. We should..." Like, he hated Michael Jackson for like over 20 minutes.
That's funny, man.
And this is when he was alive.
Yeah, I didn't even know. It was funny. For the longest time, I had no idea that Michael Jackson was black. I was always I was always like, every time, like,
You didn't know the Jackson 5?
No, I didn't. I didn't know the Jackson 5. I didn't know, like, I didn't watch Thriller. Like, I didn't know. I knew Michael Jackson for, like, his latest stuff. And because my folks had, like, a bunch of, like, they had music, like, they have a lot of stuff on records. But they have a lot of like the new age stuff. Like, so I see Michael Jackson face, so I see this white guy, and I see him on stage doing this stuff, and it's like, oh, like white guy with silky hair. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh wow, look, I can really dance. It's crazy. And then I remember them showing me it was like a Jackson 5, and they just have like a lot of albums. They didn't have a lot of the album covers on it.
And you saw that he was black.
No, well, I saw a black kid with an afro, and I heard him singing, and I was like, oh, this guy has a cool voice. And they're like, oh yeah, this is Michael Jackson. And I was like, oh, Michael Jackson's on this? And like, yeah, this is when he was a kid. He has pictures right there. And I was like, what? Michael Jackson's black? Just down that rabbit hole.
Well, if he kept his original nose, you would have seen it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I was just like, and then like the music videos came out, like, oh, the Thriller, and that one of my favorite ones is the one with oh yeah, and I think my introduction to Michael Jackson was with that Free Willy song. But he has one of my favorite tracks with him is the one that he has with Chris Tucker. The way I walk, the way I talk, I cannot explain. Girl, you do butchering the words.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's like Rock My World. Rock My World.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's like, come on, man. It's like a giant clip. It's like he's like dancing. And he's like this kind of like the street dude, like back when it's like he's dancing with this like mobster's daughter or wife or whatever, and then like she's taken with him, and then he's sending his boys after him, and Michael Jackson, Chris Tucker like are fighting them out and having this like dance competition. It's like it's intense. It was so cool. But yeah, like people are just nuanced, man, and let's start. I want to unpack all that. Like, yeah, so we touched on like race, Netflix. Wanted to brush up on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, let's dive into the meat.
I'm trying to look up some of the stuff on Netflix right now. It's very defeating.
Yeah. Well, let's finish up. Let's see while you do that, let's do I'll finish up on Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
I promise I won't do what I did last time. Sorry, everybody. No. I like monologuing, but I remember the thing about they said, or there was a part right before he was talking to the people at the end, the politician, the banker, these big wigs who were making these big decisions about the repatriation thing, and he was lecturing them and talking about how it's not about easy decisions, and then he goes on to explain about like how he's a black man rocking the Stars and Stripes and how difficult that decision was, not because his journey as a black man was difficult per se, but he's saying that other black people would look at him and think that, oh, like, you're not a self-respecting black man and you don't understand the way to the culture of this country. But he was going on, and that's where the whole like, I believe I could do better type of thing came on, and like you saw like the Isaiah Bradley character, the old black guy who was bitter and pessimistic about the way that black people are viewed in America, was looking at him on the TV when he was saying that, and he started shaking his head. He was like, all right, I hear you. And even though he's not going to necessarily step in that role, and Falcon's not asking him to step in that role, Falcon's just saying like, hey, well, I'm here, I'm carrying that legacy of being black, but I'm also rocking these Stars and Stripes. Like, I'm Booker T. Washingtoning it. I'm Malcolm Xing it. I'm doing better because I think I can do better, not because I need some other outside force to confirm who I am and all that jazz. So that was a cool shtick. But like the whole thing about not making easy decisions. Like that just in firm contradiction with the solid, my favorite statement of all time. When he's just like, oh yeah, I don't know how complicated things are. That's a good thing. 'Cause,
I don't know the complexities of the issues, and that's good.
yeah, it's not about easy decisions. These choices are hard. It's like, all right, so if these choices are hard, right, then in order to be able to overcome the hard decisions, you're gonna have to understand the weight of those choices, and you can't understand it if you refuse to or decide to turn a blind eye to understand the complexities of the situation, or that goes into the decision making process. So, okay, whoever wrote this wasn't a lawyer. or not that I'm expecting lawyers to like comb through every line by line or Falcon or Winter Soldier, but god damn man, that's just like that. This is just it's a poorly made argument. And again, it's like I'll give it up to the fact that they just. I think this is what most people think. Most people just want to associate with being on the side of right and feeling good about themselves. And if they say the right things, it's like, all right, that's confirmation of who I am as a person. Like I have to showcase to everybody how good of a person I am, as opposed to, all right, well, let me just like sit down, think about these issues, and really wrestle with what's the best way moving forward on X, Y, and Z things, or like who would be the best suited to deal with this stuff. About the like who's in the room when you're making those decisions. It's like, is it more people like you, or is it the ones that are going to be impacted? And that's kind of crazy because like the way that government's set up, especially in like a democratic understanding of the world, which I assume is what the world is after the blip. Still, majority, like for the most part, especially when it comes to like creating the Sokovia Accords and everyone coming together and trying to create this the Repatriation Act, and the fact that the senators are called senators. It's like, I'm making the dangerous assumption of assuming that we still live in a democracy, and they're like the movement mostly like happened in Europe, and I think they were in Southeast Asia for a little bit of time. I think that's where they originated and they got the serum at. But it's like for the most part, like outside of Singapore,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty. It's not a lot of autocracies running around. You know what I mean? Like it's this. People are elected into office and they do the best decision that they can with the people. Other people who are elected into office, representing everybody else. Like you can't have everybody in the room with you. You can't have representatives from every community that's going to be affected on every decision when you're sitting there making those decisions. You talk to those people, they reach out to you. That's what the structure is, right? But so I mean, and they have like forums to communicate out with the community. Like they have town hall meetings. They have moments where they come out to you and you're hosting an event, or like you're talking to them, or if you want to sit on a podcast. Yeah.
I'll stop.
Yeah. but yeah, like the whole like, but the way that government's set up is set up in a certain way on purpose. So like I remember, and I was telling you this, and I don't know if I said it on here, about the whole when I was working with that nonprofit in DC, and they're like really big on trying to provide affordable homes to people in need, or otherwise disenfranchised, or wouldn't be able to get a traditional loan in the city. And there's a lot of nonprofits and they're doing a lot of good things. And we were having a meeting with someone from the mayoral office, and then a bunch of people who represented a bunch of different shelters.
Uh-huh.
And different homeless communities, and we were there and we were talking about it. It was more so about like trying to advocate to try to, how much money is necessary for them to understand the issues and to understand how much money would we need, or in order like to understand the grasp of the situation. They'll be able to try to make their decisions based off of budget.
Uh-huh.
And like okay, well, the issue is this big, and if we allocate this money funds, we'll be able to do these things.
Yeah.
They want to know where the money's going, and we wanted to understand how much they would be able to give us. So it was like that was the crux of the whole the meeting,
Yeah.
and it happens on a regular basis. But they the meeting kind of devolved into the two people who were representing homeless communities, and they got into an argument about the difficulties of being a woman and homeless versus the difficulties of being black and homeless. And it's like that has nothing to do with what we're here to do, but it's like, and not to say that every time there's a town hall meeting, it's like, it's people are gonna, try to utilize that platform in order to advocate for what
That's
they
like
believe.
it's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, it's just another, and it's outside of the decision making process, and it is important for you to hear those kind of voices to see where these communities and these people are coming from. So then, like, the more individualized you get, the more the more people you'll be able to understand, or at a grassroots level. But then at the same time, so you need to understand that. But when it comes to making these decisions, the decision making process has to come. It's a different process than the whole like understanding these issues. And that forum was that it was kind of like, no, we wanted to. It was a financial thing, and understanding like the impact that it would have on this stuff.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't necessarily, and it wasn't a decision making thing. They weren't gonna make all right, 5.6 million. So, like, they're not gonna make the decision right then and there.
Yeah.
But so it was kind of a forum but it was a forum that led up to the decision making process that they were gonna utilize in order to do this. But it's like, and versus a forum where it's like, all right, let's talk about the difficulties of being homeless, and like, should we appropriate the funds towards this versus that? And it's like, that's not even what it was about.
Well, the difficulties that a woman faces are based off of the actions of other people, not the circumstance from what you're in.
Yeah, and that's what they were advocating against. It's like, if you're a woman and homeless, especially if you have a
Like
child,
the goal
like,
is to
people
get
are gonna,
the goal is to get housing. So
yeah, and there's
regardless
a lot more,
of what threats you face, as opposed to somebody else that doesn't
it doesn't
that
take
doesn't
away from
like you can't solve that problem
and
unless you want someone to just give you a house because you fucked up.
yeah. and a lot of people like they're
The older
like
I get,
simple-
I'm like, housing isn't a right.
But like it's crazy. Like there's some people who are just like it's crazy. Like people who are homeless aren't like, there's definitely people who are just like, oh yeah, like I decided to make these decisions and I fucked up. But then there's a lot more like people than you would think that aren't like that. There's a lot more people who are just like, oh man, I was married, had kids, had a stable job, wife left, incredibly depressed because I was incredibly attached, and stopped feeding myself, stopped eating, lived with my mom, stopped going to work, lost my job, mom died, now I'm homeless. That happens a lot. Some people are just like, oh yeah, making good money, got laid off, lived out my car, homeless. Some people are like, oh, got into drugs, started doing that, thought these people were my friends. Then my habits got me, lost my job, or stopped going to work because like doing this and hanging out with my friends, ran out of money, couldn't pay for drugs anymore, friends left me, homeless and alone. Damn. But a common trend is like a lot of people who are homeless like turn to drugs and alcohol in order to cope with the reality, whatever the
Whatever it
situation
is
that they're
that
dealing
they're
with.
dealing
But then that gets converted into oh wow, you're homeless because you're abusing drugs and alcohol. And it's like, no, there's a lot of people who abuse drugs and alcohol who are like functioning, like working in clinics and stuff and shooting up heroin regularly. Like it's more normal than you think. But like,
I've seen an interview from a guy who's a functioning heroin addict.
oh yeah, there's a lot, man. It's crazy. But
It's like, yeah, I gotta like map my days out, and sometimes I gotta call out of work because it's been 3 days and I'm starting to relapse.
yeah, it's wild. I know some people who are like functioning heroin addicts, like fathers like of 3, like work at a clinic, like working with the.
What's their name?
Oh yeah.
Steve Henderson.
It's like that. But yeah, but like these issues like that. There's a forum for all these things, and I know like when people look at politicians, they look at like, oh yeah, well we got to vote you in, and now that we voted you in, now you have to do something for me, and how come you're not fixing all my problems? But it's like that's not the way the process works. But everyone expects the process to work that way because it's a simplistic way of.
It started that way after the big, what is it, the New Deal?
After World War II, yeah. It's like, oh wow, all these social programs. All right, this is good. We can do all that.
Well, no, I guess the Great Depression. No, that's what the New Deal was. It wasn't after World War II.
Okay, I'm thinking about the economic.
It was the job thing. So they were building the interstates and stuff like that.
Oh no! I thought the interstate was Eisenhower. That's World War II. After
No,
World
you're
War
right.
II, I think.
But
I
no,
don't know.
The New Deal is Roosevelt.
Okay.
That's post.
Great Depression.
Great Depression.
Okay. Yeah.
That's when the government started doing
Oh yeah.
like-
a lot of different.
outreach or programs to like give aid to people.
Yeah, I think it was just after World War II. It was just.
Because before it was just like, well, I'm gonna do what I need to do to survive, and if not, well, fuck you.
Yeah, I think the big thing after World War II was the GI Bill, and then the international. So they had the.
And then it just keeps growing. Where now you have like the Section 8 housing, and then you have all these other things.
And those are so.
Where it incentivizes someone to not amount to anything in life.
Right. So it's
Because if I can live and exist and be in maybe not necessarily a good area, but my place is decent,
Yeah.
and I can live and I've got money for food, why
Yeah.
do anything else?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't like everyone kind of associates them like, oh yeah, like with lazy, but like you said, it's like, well, I got this stuff like. Why,
It's about incentives and decentives.
Yeah.
That's a word.
De-incentivizing.
De-incentivizing.
Yeah.
It's like why would you do what I do when you can make maybe $10,000 to $15,000 less and you're not even working?
Yeah, it's true.
But then if you work and
if you
make
work
like
even a little bit,
that's what I
then
mean.
it's
Like
they take away half of your benefit. Yeah, it's like you get the benefits equivalent to someone working.
and that's
a
if you're doing what
full-time-
I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you're not doing what I'm doing and doing something a little bit less, you still don't get that aid.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're still like, so it's like, okay, so do I get this aid or do I work a job and stress myself out?
And make less, or like
No, make the same.
All the well, it's like if you like, let's say like you get all the benefits. Like let's say you get unemployment, you get Section 8, you have SNAP coming in, you have let's say you have
That's what I'm saying. Like
some kids, you get money from. Like,
it's coming out to like $30K.
oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay,
That's
so
my
like,
point.
Yeah, but like if
Or
you're-
more.
if you make that
Because the
much-
housing.
the
I mean,
housing situation.
You're looking at like 40. You're looking at $40,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get a job making $25K,
Yeah.
you're not getting any of that. So you're making less money to work.
Right. And then it's like, and depending on how many kids you have, then it's like, okay, well, that dictates how big of a household they're gonna try to provide you with. So then it's like, okay, so you're
Looking at $2,500.
Yeah, you're affording a place. You're staying in a place, and you have someone, and you have donations for jackets. You have this place. You have a regular stream for like food. That you have a kitchen. That you
It
go
sounds
to.
nice, but it prevents and it gives nobody a reason to do anything with their life.
Right, because it's a nice safety net. But then if you make a decision like, okay, well, I want to be a productive member of society. Thank you for the safety net. I'm going to be a productive member of society. You go out there, and the only job you could get is like working fast food or like working as like a line chef or like line cook. I mean, and it's
That's why there's so many jobs available right now.
Yeah.
So many people are hurting for their for more employees, and they're cutting their business hours because they don't have the staffing.
Yeah. And it's like it wouldn't make sense because like you said, like, okay, once you start making a paycheck, it's like, oh, you're making this much, now half of your benefits get slashed because you're working part-time minimum wage at like this shitty ass job, and you're just like, oh wait, now I have less than I had before, and I'm working more, and I'm more stressed out, and I'm not spending time with my kids, and I can't watch the shows that I want. You know what? Instead, I'll just stay home all day. You know what? If I want to make some extra money, I'll just sling dope on the side, and I'll get tax free.
Or mow people's yards.
Yeah, I'll mow people's yards. You know, I'll sell a bottle of water. You know.
But I mean, that's what some people do with selling drugs.
Yeah.
They sell a little bit on the side to get a little extra spending money, and then they're collecting all of these welfare programs.
A year, bottom level. Like, yo, what? Why would I give that up to work full time at McDonald's? All right. Anyway, yeah, incentive program. Anyway, these things like this is why like the complexity of like how wild it is. Like, oh, I hate that phrase about like, oh, I don't know how complicated it is, and it's a good thing. Like, it pisses me off because there's so much.
Black people talking about systematic oppression and stuff like that. It's like you're complaining it, but you don't have a problem collecting $50,000 in government benefits that's paid mostly by white tax dollars.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the numbers. It's like, well, if the majority of the country is, well, can't complain.
You keep complaining how you don't have the income and you can't make any money, but yet, so you're literally just taking white dollars and then saying, oh, it's so terrible, white people don't do anything. It's like you literally are. Your existence is predicated off that tax.
Yeah, and that's my big issue with critical race theory. Like I don't like, and that's a whole shtick. But just to kind of touch on it, just because.
Like you can still say things aren't good or they need to improve or here's why they're bad. Yeah. But when you make these blanket statements, it's like, you know, I know people that are getting like $2,700 a month in for the Section 8 for housing assistance.
Yeah.
You're telling me that a black single mom can get almost $3,000 in renting. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, renting subsidies.
Subsidies. And she's systematically oppressed
by these racist systems.
She can get a 3-bedroom. She can get a 3-bedroom townhouse.
Yeah.
Almost rent free and not pay anything, and not even have a job.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So
how is that oppression?
That's my issue with it. Like I
and she doesn't feel that way. She's like she's grateful for what she can get.
Right. Yeah. It's like wow.
But there are people who think that.
Yeah.
Who know that exists, or who know that exists and still says it's racist. It's like, that can't be racist.
Right, that's why like that oversimplification.
Unless you're telling me that they're creating a system that gets black people dependent on the government, but they don't say that.
Yeah, that's not the argument.
If that was the argument, I would start clapping. I'd be like, I'm all for this.
Yeah, this is deep thinking right here. Yeah.
Because people have said that before.
Yeah.
That welfare program is just the new slave state.
Yeah, I see. And that's kind of what like
But that's not their argument.
Yeah, and like that. See,
their argument is that we need more programs.
And that's the problem. What I have with critical race theory because it's based off of like a complex. Concept
of what they are doing isn't good, but of what we want to do is good.
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington was born into slavery.
Yeah, and rose out of slavery. And it's like, that wasn't pleasant. But
it's just funny that they have such a different contrast where one actually lived through what the other one is saying people should get for living through it.
Yeah, it's great. Like, because the other one, Du Bois was focused on how other people look at black people, and that's important. And the system that looks at back in that day when it was oppressive, this is what's messed up, which is a valid point. It's not to say that Booker T. Washington was wrong though. It's just that they're focused on different things. They're fighting on the same side, but they disagreed on some stuff. But they instead of posing it as a
Booker T wanted a fishing pole, and Du Bois just wanted fish.
Yeah, dangerous. Well, like it's more so like like I also like, oh, Booker T. Washington wanted a fishing pole, and Du Bois was demanding that
Booker T wanted a fishing pole, didn't even give a shit about knowing how to fish.
Yeah. No, like he cared about knowing how to fish. I'm trying to make this metaphor.
No, I mean because I know he wasn't big on like any type of government intervention. Just
yeah, like just
let me have a pole.
I'll figure that shit out. Yeah. Yeah, Du Bois was like demanding that
he taught himself how to read, right?
Yeah. And Du Bois was like
that's incredible. How do you teach yourself how to read?
So Booker
Because
T.
he was like a kid
Washington
when he did this. He was like 12.
So that's crazy, but there's stories about other people way before Booker T.
Oh yeah,
who
I
taught
know.
themselves how to read.
They'd,
And,
they'd find like random posters, or I know the Bible was a big source of learning how to read.
Yeah, you need a dictionary to understand what some of these people are talking about. They're just like, you taught yourself how to read. What are you? And then like you look at their speeches, you like, or the stuff that they wrote down. You're just like, what are they saying? What? I don't understand that word. I don't understand that. Like every other word is just like, fuck, esoteric, metaphysical. All right, wait a minute.
Metaphysics.
Yeah, like it was like Booker T was like, yo, give me that fishing pole, I'll figure that shit out. Du Bois was demanding that, hey, you're making us fish in areas that don't have a lot of fish. I demand that you put me in these other areas. So it's not like he had a not valid point, but it's just that they were arguing for different things. They don't have to be against each other. Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking about the Tuskegee area as separate from World War II. Like I just never.
They were
connected
They were
that,
during
so-
World War II.
Yeah, that's what like.
But the
if I had
units
thought
were
about that,
units
they
were still
segregated. Yeah. So like I ended up looking that up.
There
I was
were
like,
certain
wait a minute.
circumstances where, like, I think there was Cuba Gooding Jr. played him in Pearl Harbor,
Mhm.
where there was like a black
He's like
black cook on like a
Yeah.
boat. So there were certain
Yeah.
like, I mean, unfortunately, like cooks and stuff like that, I think could potentially be integrated.
Yeah.
But like your standard infantrymen and anything like that, there wasn't any integration.
Black cooking.
I don't even know if there was. I don't even.
revered since World War II.
I don't even know if there was any African Americans that were infantry during World War II.
No,
I doubt it.
I looked it up. Like at least there's the 320th Raj Balloon Battalion. It was they were involved on D-Day, and so I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. But these stories like this is a few and
I've
far
never
between.
heard about it.
Yeah, no.
But I know they had. Well, they had very few units.
Yeah,
so
It was few and far in between, but there were black infantrymen.
we didn't
that
start
were
seeing them
involved.
till like Korea and Vietnam.
Yeah, they were segregated for even throughout World War II. So I was like, wow, yeah, that all that stuff occurred while we were at war with
World War
involved in a war.
World
that
War
looks like we were gonna lose.
This is so
I was like, that's
racist.
crazy.
World War II proved that the only people that can be white people are other white people.
even when fighting
we might be evil, but we're the only ones that can also stop that evil.
Yeah, we gotta stop those evil Nazis. The black people were like, oh yeah, we'll help. Like, get the fuck out of here, nigger.
We've got.
We'll beat these white devils.
It's our white devils against their white devils.
Oh man, I love it. Critical race theory was big on or is predicated on a lot of
Being overseers or in charge of the systems of government,
yeah.
so that what is it, whiteness or whatever it is, can't be implemented or something.
Yeah, it's super. It's oversimplifying like very
Well,
complex
you're just replacing
issues.
power structures with your own power structure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they're talking like
At least now they can be racist.
yeah, it's like they take very complex issues like I think it spawned off of like postmodernism, which is like talking about like where power resides and how that.
That's probably the most I don't know.
Yeah, but
I don't know. I can't find words
well,
today.
no worries. You got infected this time, but it's based off of these very complex issues, and it's like really interesting to dive into and to understand and to talk about, and like I think it should be studied. But within the context of understanding. Like you can't. What they've done, they've taken some of the tenets out of. They've taken it. They're like, oh wow, that's cool. They've watered it down to like a ridiculously simplified level, and then they
they water it down so that they don't have to call it critical race theory, and then they can implement that into like preschools and elementary schools.
Yeah, like they mischaracterize it. So like, and then the mischaracterizations is what they're implementing in the elementary schools and middle schools, and that's what people are pushing back against. People aren't pushing back against critical race theory in general because in general it's very, very complex, very interesting, and I think worth researching. But I think dumbing the stupid version, the dumbed down, watered down version of, hey, either you're racist or you're anti-racist. That's ridiculous, and that you're that's like simplifying the Bible to Daddy was mad.
There's just no reason you need to be talking to 8-year-olds about whiteness.
Yeah, it's like
or blackness. Because it used to be like until there was an issue, you didn't need to talk about.
Yeah.
Like nobody gave a shit that you were black until somebody said something negative to you, and then that needed to be addressed.
Yeah. Or like
the parents needed to come in. You needed to have like a guidance counselor and the teacher and like the principal be like, well, how does this not ever happen again? And then use that as like a learning moment.
Yeah.
Or like try and figure out where this came from. Like well, what did this person like? Then you need to find answers. But like to just right off the jump start telling me at like 5 that me and you are not the same people and that we're different. Mm-hmm. It's like you're already creating a rift.
Divide, yeah. It's like Morgan Freeman said.
And then to talk about like whiteness and stuff, that's gonna tell me at 6. It's like, oh, I'm better than you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like critical race theory's trying to take that and reverse it. They're gonna be like, oh, you're not better than him because you're white. You're worse than him because or. What they're trying to do is...
It's like, oh, you're black, so you don't have as much as me.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now I'm assuming that every black person I come into contact with, like, doesn't have a dad.
Right. Like, they're trying to make it, like, where black people feel oppressed and where white people feel...
They're the oppressor.
Exactly. So that's what the simplification that's going on.
Yeah, but now you're like, teaching white kids to have sympathy for people based off of their skin color.
Yeah.
Instead of based off of their circumstance.
Right.
Like if you're black and you grew up without a dad and you're in a bad neighborhood and there's violence and like you have family members who have been locked up or shot or killed, then it's like, oh wow, that's your life. That's a very terrible experience on top of whatever maybe racial issues you may go through. Right. But to just have sympathy for you,
assume everyone who looks like you has that same experience,
or just has a day-to-day bad experience. Yeah. Like you're assuming that somebody doesn't have a good life.
Yeah, and that's detrimental. But I think more detrimental than that is the effect that it's having on the African American community, where it's like making us.
You can see it now.
Or disempowered, where it's like, oh well, you're not. This is what you're worth.
The loudest, the loudest people that are complaining about like whiteness and stuff like that are all college educated. Mm-hmm. So they all have a better upper hand than like the majority of whites.
Yeah, but no, I'm oppressed. If I was this, Sean.
Like you literally could have have a college degree from a school that you shouldn't even got into if you were white.
Right.
Because of your grades, but because your grades were good enough to meet the racial racial standard.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah.
Like a white guy's like, oh man, I only got a 1600. I got a 1500. I'm all right.
Yeah. It's like, I'm good to go. You need affirmative actions? Guess you need to fill those seats. I got it.
Bet you wish your daddy was black.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is, and I don't know him. Supposedly. Yeah. But yeah, that I think more eloquently than I could put it, Condoleezza Rice was talking about it on some show recently. About
sure that was well received.
Oh yeah, like I have no idea what the effects are, but she was talking about.
She was a young black woman who was the Secretary of State or Defense. No, state. Colin Powell's
No.
defense.
What was she? She was.
I think she was
That's a good
treasurer?
question. No, she wasn't the treasurer.
I can't remember that Bush administration. Condolengus Rice.
Oh, damn. Was she? I think she's the. I think she was defense. No, because was Colin in that
Colin would have been
administration?
defense. At least
No, I thought he was part of the Joint Chiefs. I don't know.
Or maybe he
I'm
was.
just using. I'm just throwing out words. I can
Joint
tell you.
Chiefs.
But but yeah, but Condoleezza was talking about like just that, like how it's making it doesn't make black people feel empowered, and
What does?
the
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State.
So I was right the
That's
first
it.
time.
Boom.
Yeah, but she was like young.
Yeah, I think she was the youngest Secretary of State.
And she was a woman, but that wasn't good
Yeah.
enough because she was a Republican.
She was a black woman, youngest Secretary of State. But nah, fucking elephant, fuck you. You don't believe in me, you demon spawn.
Yeah, Uncle Tom.
Yo, that fucking. Again, another oversimplification. Uncle
That's
Tom,
a funny documentary, Uncle Tom.
Uncle Tom's the
No,
fucking-
Larry Elder did it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I haven't
It's-
seen the documentary.
It's not that great because it's a little bit too conservative, but Larry Elder did a documentary called Uncle Tom, just talking about the treatment of black conservatives.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, it's sad. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but it's just like, oh, I see what he did.
Because
there.
he's
I could
constantly
appreciate
being called like a coon
it. Right, but
and all sorts of horrible things.
but the terrible thing about being called an Uncle Tom again is like,
well,
okay,
Uncle
like,
Tom actually was a strong character. Which
He
is
was
funny.
he was the good guy. He was the one that was
No,
all
he was-
for
he
the
wasn't.
black community. He would like, he would take it for his brothers and sisters. Sambo was the Uncle Ruckus. Sambo was the Samuel Jackson.
So why did that
character in Django.
become a bad thing?
Because Uncle Tom's Cabin is the name of the book, but because we can't look at anything below the fucking head
Oh.
titles, we decided, oh yeah, I'm just gonna call you Uncle Tom, and that's gonna be synonymous with the bad black guy. It's like like people are just too stupid to look at people like, oh, let me look at the story and how nuanced these characters are and how interesting this is, and see what the real world applications of this stuff is. Huh, interesting, cool. And even if I think that you're doing this, it's like, oh well, I think it's more interesting for me to tell you why I think you're doing this, as opposed to just like name dropping you because Uncle Tom is the new nigger. So it's like if you're not comfortable with white people calling black people nigger, you damn sure shouldn't be comfortable with you as a black person calling another black person an Uncle Tom, whether or not you really meant Sambo or not. But whatever.
When you said Sambo, I thought of the fucking the scene in what is that goddamn movie? Major League.
Major League.
Where the old white pitcher shits on the voodoo guy's god.
Ew.
Because he's got the shot glass of whiskey and he's like, "Up yours, Joe Boone," and then like he takes a shot of
Oh
whiskey.
fuck! I need to see that movie.
And then as he's running out, as he's jogging out onto the field, I forget the character's name, but he says, so and so. It's like you're a little bit light on the whiskey in there or something. And Joe needs a filler up, and then someone swings the bat and misses, and the bat goes flying and hits him in the
Oh
head.
shit! Yo.
Oh, I heard a comedian talking about people who order at people who order in accents at restaurants that they go to. And then he said he went to go see his visit his sister, 'cause she moved to New York,
Yeah.
and they went to some Mexican restaurant where they got I don't know, she ordered something
Yeah.
and said it in
Mexican accent.
in a Spanish accent, or she said the actual word. Well, no, because it was a food, so you would have already read it as it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
she
yeah.
said it in the correct ethnic way, and then
Okay.
he's just kind of. They're from Pitts, I don't know, outside of Pittsburgh or something like that. So they're kind of a little bit rednecky.
Okay.
He likes to dip, chewing tobacco and
Oh,
stuff like
shit.
that. So he starts laughing. And I was like, "What the fuck? You've been here for 6 months and now you're fucking cultured? Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah. Oh man.
The only Mexican place you went to was Taco Bell. Enchilada,
Gracias. Yeah. Oh, but it is interesting. People are weird like that. Like we can adapt to anything. We could just like, oh yeah, like throw us in this situation. Like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Like,
Not everybody can adapt.
oh yeah. I mean, we
There's a select group that can adapt. Everyone has to adapt to them.
Everyone has the capacity to adapt. I'll say that's a little nicer.
Going back to Dave, I like how no one's talking about how his friend murdered or killed herself
Suicide.
because of bullying.
Yeah.
Or at least what is
my
perceived to be bullying.
Yeah. And like I think her like she just sounded like a beautiful person. Like they're like laughing at all his jokes and and then he said something.
Well, a trans black woman was on, was it CNN or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think she might have been a comedian as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was within the last couple of days
Okay.
because of all this controversy. And then
Yeah.
she was saying like no, like you're a comedian. Like I'm a comedian first. It's like this is what comedians do. Like
yeah. Take shots at you know.
I mean, Dave
Fools.
even said it's like if it's like obviously like y'all can't all are understanding what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
like that's why he said like I'm not gonna say this anymore.
Right.
Any of these trans jokes because people aren't understand. Like these are jokes.
And yeah, and even at because he said one, and then he was just like, well, that's something that she would have laughed at, and like, and you don't like, you're just not in that world. Like you're just like that's something like he made a.
And then
joke
people.
about like her.
Well, people are
after she
taking too
died.
literally his turf statement.
What was his turf statement again? Like I remember.
Well, because they called J.K. Rowling a turf,
Oh,
and then he was like,
oh, she's right.
and then he was like,
yeah.
if that's what that is, then you know, call me Team Turf. Like,
Yeah.
So he
that
that
because he's like, as we've
him
already
calling-
established, I'm a feminist. Yeah. I
yeah.
remember.
But he's that joke is saying that, oh, if somebody comes out and says gender is a fact, and you call them a bigot and give them this bigoted title name
Mm-hmm.
to try and shame them, then I guess that's what I am, because that
Right.
doesn't seem to be too controversial.
Right.
Call me Team Turf.
Yeah.
That's what that
that's
joke
the-
is, and
that's the
everybody's
same-
missing it. They're like, oh,
Because that's the same dynamic with critical race theory. Either you're racist or you're anti-racist. So it's like either you fully accept who I am and call me the way that I want to be called, or you hate my people and you're terrified of being around me, and you're like the same. I'm
Also,
gonna group you
nobody
in the
knows-
same group
Nobody
that
knows who
kills
you.
people.
Nobody knows who you are.
Right, until you identify yourself, till you let people
No,
know.
it's not. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like society as a whole. Like there are probably people in entire states who might not even know who the fuck a non-binary person is.
I didn't know what a turf was, and I'm still like, oh yeah, that's a trans. Like I radical.
The vast majority of Latinos don't know what Latinx means.
It's I hate that.
But
term.
yet it's an identifying term.
I hate that term.
That's the problem, is that these people.
That's again surface level. Like I would hate for them to people who say Latinx. I even know there's some Hispanics that say Latinx. Like in order to be like
Because they're already indoctrinated.
French
Because again, they're coming from college.
yeah, but per
This
the
isn't
same-
somebody that like crossed the border from Mexico and is trying to
it's so
illegally,
stupid
and then
because,
is trying to like make a life, and it's like, oh no, you didn't call me Latinx. Like
Yeah.
they're not thinking like that because they don't even know what that is.
Yeah, like I love John Leguizamo.
That's a
but
liberal-
He talks about Latinx all the time, but it's so stupid because Latinx.
Well, he's
is like,
leaning in because he probably needs a job.
It's like, oh yeah. The royalties from those little movies aren't doing it. Those little scary scenes.
Well, he threw a fit because the new. Now, this is a live action, so it's animated.
Okay.
Mario Brothers movie.
Oh.
He was saying that I'm ashamed that, or I'm disappointed that there's no Latinx people. And then like all the people that.
Jeez.
So I follow some YouTubers that are like big in like the comic book stuff and like will
Yeah.
review the movies and everything like that.
Mhm.
So they were like saying like, what the fuck is this guy's problem? It's like somebody really needs to tell him that even though you were in that movie, it's about Italians. It's about white people.
Yeah.
In fact, if there is a character, they were like joking around saying like, in fact, any character who isn't white European shouldn't be in that.
That's funny, man. Yeah, but it's like Spanish is a language that's based on like a lot of the words are associated
Well, it's a
with
gender
masculine or feminine. So it's like if you're gonna call them people Latinx as opposed to Latino or Latina, it's like, well, what are you gonna call like?
Well, the
If you understand the language,
The
and you're
problem
like,
is
oh
this-
this, oh wow, you say la mesa instead of el mesa. That's pretty. You're assuming that table is feminine. Why? Because it's near the kitchen. You like where the does it
That's
stop?
a good one.
Like what? Like the whole language is like that. Everything is associated with feminine. Where is it gonna fucking
Well, that's
stop?
because they're trying to normalize something that isn't normal.
Yeah.
And then they attack somebody saying that something isn't normal as equating it to being bad or evil.
Yeah.
Where it's like being emo isn't normal.
Mm.
It's not, it wasn't really normal for me. It wasn't normal for me at 18 years old to be wearing jeans that 12-year-old girls would wear with a studded belt.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal.
Yeah.
That's-
Unless you're a rock star, then it's like
No,
oh.
but that's not normal.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like every day.
It's not normal.
Yeah, I
like-
feel you. Yeah.
Going to death metal concerts where there's guys screaming and incoherently talking about how they worship Satan.
Yeah,
No, that's not normal.
yeah.
You know what it also is? It's just music and people getting together and having a good time and fucking rocking out in a way that they feel like they're a part of something because they
Yeah.
don't feel like they're normal.
Right. Yeah.
But then these
It's like a
groups that are
romance.
coming out now, everybody wants to be normal, right? Like,
I like that. Yeah.
right? Black people can't just be their own unique self. They need society and all of media to be catered to them so that they're a part of it. And instead,
Yeah.
that comes off to me as like, so you want whiteness to accept you.
Right.
Like, you don't even want your own individuality.
Which is why
you want to be the machine.
Yeah. You don't want to rage against nothing.
Which is actually funny. The Rage Against the Machine is big on mandates, government mandates.
Oh shit, are they?
Yeah.
Oh,
they're liberal cucks.
fuckers. Yeah. I used to love listening to them. I knew
They had
they
their
were-
biggest song is "Fuck You, I Won't Do What You Tell Me."
Yeah. Starts
that-
whispering, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me."
Yeah, they literally.
Fuck you.
I think the lead singer was no somebody.
Get your mandates.
No, they actually were saying like anybody. Who,
Oh.
they're saying like something like anybody who doesn't get vaccinated, like go fuck yourself. Like they're
Oh,
like
boy.
they're all about totalitarianism.
Oh man,
It's-
that's a different kind of that is. Yo, you have to start a new band.
yeah, be the machine.
Yeah. Rage as the machine.
Oh, it was only cool. It was only cool when they were communists in the '90s. Like, I'm gonna wear a chase. I'm gonna wear a chase shirt.
Oh fuck, man, that's.
Didn't he wear a chase shirt? I think he did.
Oh,
Isn't he
sure.
half black?
Everybody was.
Isn't he half black?
I don't know.
The inferior race,
Oh god.
according to Che.
Che, yeah. Che
He wanted Cuba to be a. Just so anybody who's listening to this ever.
Oh yeah. Wait.
Che Guevara.
We're talking about Che Guevara's viewpoints.
Che Guevara believed that Cuba should be that of the occupants of Cuba should be of pure Spaniard blood,
Yeah.
and that anyone that was Afrocentric was was inferior,
Yeah.
which doesn't really tie into today's liberal policy,
Yeah.
liberal beliefs.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they wear those. I remember
Well, they like the whole the socialist movement because like the whole and again another complex issue which was like stems off of Marxism and all that jazz. Where it's like more so about like talking about where power lies, like in the like not the bourgeoisie who like control all this, but like the sweat off your brow, like you profit what you or you're worth what you do and and that kind of thing. And then the socioeconomic downfall collapse because wealth and power is going to be consolidated here versus there. And then it's like then it evolved into like socialism where it's like, all right, well, we should all be equal as people. But in order to like, I can't have like, all right, well, everybody should be able to ride the HOA lane only when they need to get somewhere fast. or like only in emergencies, only for pregnancies. But then everybody's gonna be stuck in traffic, and they're just gonna be like, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna jump to the HOA lane because nobody's over there."
Yeah.
And then eventually, it's just gonna become a regular lane. So the only way to institute socialism, aside from having everybody accept, everyone accepts that we're all individuals and we should all share everything, is for somebody to mandate and for everything to be equal. And that didn't turn out too nicely. And even if it's the functional communist societies or nations are utilizing a little hybrid system where they or rely on capitalism in order to run economics to a certain degree. So it's like it's just, to paint everything in one light is just a gross oversimplification. And but like. So Che was coming off of that bandwagon, and people like really rallied against that, like rallied for that, because they're like, "Oh, I'm for equality. Oh, I'm for everybody. Like we should all be equal. We should all see everybody."
All he was doing was toppling governments and then leaving.
Yeah. So like, oh, you get the easy part, and bye. Yeah, I'm sure he was like all about his cause and like the face of the
killing people.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think
dismembering bureaucrats.
People looked at that as, oh, this person who's taking down the evil consolidated power structure, but he's not having any kind of discussions or accurate replacements about what that power structure vacuum should be filled with. But the action of on the toppling taking down the man, like that was appealing. That's why everybody rallies around him, or why he was a popular figure. But I doubt that most people who wear Che Guevara shirts even understand the complexity.
Well, now you don't see him a lot.
Yeah.
They were, the 90s, they were around into the 2000s, 2010s. You would see him like Bernie Sanders,
Yeah.
I mean, not like really that, but like those
people
progressive
who are, like, really
liberals.
big on, like,
they would wear it,
that-
but then
those kind
like with now of how we are we're
Talking
always
about all
we're always
these
looking
people.
for the next person that's done something fucked up.
Yeah.
It's kind of been talked about now. It's like, oh no, he was like very racist.
Yeah. They calmly fold that shirt and hide in the corner over there.
They need to make a comeback.
Yeah, that and especially like in the Caribbean, like especially the Latino Caribbean, or the whole identifying as black is or the black identity is a deep thing to go into, but that's very different than the black experience over here in America, and it's just like it's connected to it, but it's very different. So it's just the oversimplification that people make over like all these like the balls and the level of confidence you have to think that you understand everybody everywhere and all the reason why they do anything, and to think that you're the smartest person to ever exist and nobody else is capable of the complexity of thought that you think you have is
You just haven't opened up your mind, man.
yeah. Oh, my bad, man. We're shagging, like zoinks, dude. Like, Scoob, where are them snacks, man?
Oh, I wish it was that innocent.
Yeah.
It's more like Scoobs. Where's that? I don't know. I really cannot speak today. My mind is so slow.
It's all good, man.
I woke up early and had a chiropractor appointment.
Oh. Mess up your speech, man.
I had a grown man step on my back.
Oh no, man! He messed with your mind, dude. Like, words don't mean anything, man. You're right.
As far as actors go, Dennis Hopper is the best hippie ever.
Dennis Hopper, I'm gonna have to look that up. I can't picture him.
Did you ever see Apocalypse Now?
I don't think so.
Have you seen the Chainsaw Massacre 2?
Yeah.
The guy with the suit who's got the two small ones?
Oh,
That's Dennis Hopper.
Oh wow.
But in Apocalypse Now, he's like this freelance photographer in Vietnam
Yeah.
who comes across this this guy that they're trying to kill.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, you don't even understand, man. He's got things that he says things that you can't even comprehend. They're outside of this hemisphere, man. And he's just like quintessential like hippie, and he's like, you'll walk up to him and you'll say, "How's your day going?" He'll say, "What is day but night with light?" And then you're, and he's like, it blows your mind, man. He's on a different playing field, man. Like,
the infinite shroom trip, yo. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna check that out. Oh, that's delicious. Yeah, man, that's what, like, in order to like hold people accountable, in order to really like dive into the details and understand the complexities of these issues and really try to fix it. Like, I mean, if you don't care that much about it, just be honest about it. Just stop pretending to virtue signal. Stop playing all this bullshit. Cause like, or like maybe you just don't understand it as well as you think you do, and then dive. But then if that's the case, then take the time to dive into to understand it, so you can try to fix it. And I think the majority of people aren't doing that, and that's what frustrates me because they're so like I see a lot of people real passionate. And they're so close to wanting to do something, or they pretend they do, and then you come up with like, all right, let's get a group to do this. Let's look into these things. Let's try to tackle these issues, and they're just like. I don't, I care about homeless people, but I don't want to give out on a Saturday. It's like, well, then get the fuck out of the room. Like, stop wasting my goddamn time. Like, it's just, it's, if people just look at if you really care, it's like, take the time, like, find out the details. And then, but if you're not even willing to do that, then just admit that you don't care as much as you thought you did. If you just misunderstand something, then the conversation with somebody who knows something.
Put your blackout picture on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go. That's the way to solve it. Yeah.
How stupid of a notion was that?
I could not subscribe to that. It was so ridiculous. A
black man gets killed, and in unison, let's make sure that on Instagram, when you scroll, all you'll see is black.
That doesn't make any sense. Like, all right, like, let's go into the details. Oh, wait, why was he killed? Oh, for X, Y, or Z. Do you think it's this?
It's not even that. It's just, what does that do?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that if you care about it.
And then you go on your Instagram, and then you see all the black. I saw the black, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not even on Instagram like that, but I saw it. And then, like, I asked my girlfriend at the time, it's like, what's going on with the thing? And then she was like, oh, like... And she tried to say it like in a nonchalant way because she knew I was upbeat. She was black, so she knew I already know what the fuck he's gonna say. This motherfucker. So she didn't want to put too much into it. Like,
oh man, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you cared that much about that issue, then you'd be asking the questions.
No, nobody cares.
You know that's my point. Like,
nobody cares.
Like, it's all like we live in a world where it's like people just want to pretend to do this, and it's just it's like lies on top of lies. You know,
I need to double check this, but I mean, from what I've heard on some things, it's like 42% of black-owned businesses are gone.
Oh, because of the shutdowns.
The shutdowns and the whole pandemic thing. It's like nobody gives a shit about black people.
Yeah, and that's
what people need to start doing. It's to be like, look, for all we're talking about it, let's just say it. Nobody gives a fuck about black people.
I think, and Killer Mike is one of my favorite modern day advocates on that point because he was talking about...
That's why you haven't heard from him in like 2 years.
Yeah! He shut down. Like, he was saying...
I was thinking about this as a joke. It's like, man, you know Killer Mike's been doing good work because I haven't heard from that motherfucker in 2 years.
He's busy, yo.
No, it's not that he's busy.
No.
It's because he's actually doing something.
But that's what I mean. He's busy at work with the stuff that he thinks are important and like really affect that.
No, but I'm saying if people saw what he was doing.
Yeah. But like, and that's the crazy. Like, he's a very public figure. He's been on talk shows and done all this stuff.
But people will be looking for him if he's tweeted out a tweet that said. Fuck Donald Trump and Joe Biden too, and white people need to suffer.
Yeah.
You know he's gonna be on somewhere.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna grab him and try and put him in front of a camera.
Right.
And try and capitalize him off of that attention.
Right.
But the fact that he's actually doing something good, nobody wants to talk to him.
Yeah, he's busy doing work. He's busy like actually fixing the problem. It's like whatever. It's like,
Nobody even wants to have a follow-up. Hey,
right,
do you want to come on and tell us what you've been doing?
right,
Is there any successes?
right.
If they are, like how
Yeah.
much? Like what is happening? Like what are your future plans? You want to talk about that? No one
Yeah.
gives a shit about that.
Yeah. Ice Cube, same thing. Like, oh, you want to talk about? No, hey, yo. So how come you're a Republican? How come you're a Trump supporter now? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? In
Well, he was the
nicest
one
way,
that was
okay.
talking about the black businesses, and he was saying like
Yeah.
all these bailouts didn't go to anybody. Like
Yeah.
it just went to their friends.
Yeah. Just I think like 97% of the bailout money ended up rising to the top 1%.
Yeah.
So,
Or transgender research facilities in Pakistan. I don't know.
It's fucking insane.
I still, to this day, do not know what that had anything to do with bailing out America during a pandemic,
Yeah.
where
It-
businesses were forced to be closed.
It sounds good. It feels good. It doesn't do anything.
Can I get a raise?
Oh man, I feel like we just started talking. Like we haven't even really dove into anything, and I have to leave.
Oh.
But yeah,
Mm.
yeah, shit. But that's a nice little overview. Like that's a nice little synopsis of the shit that we're gonna probably sink our teeth into next coming.
This was a little more friendly.
Yeah.
Less pessimistic.
Yeah, now I'm gonna show you what I really hate. Yep, that's all, folks. Thank you for listening. Anal Beads out.
Another week down.
Yeah. All right.